Namaste.
Nice meeting you.
Nice meeting
I've
you.
been watching you on YouTube
Oh,
regularly.
the Sanskrit songs and chants.
I especially like your chants. It's beautifully done. So
Thank
you
you,
have to ask me.
Guruji. Yeah. First, how important is a guru in this? Because often a lot of us self-study, but how important is the guru?
Look, it's good to self-study because self-study is a very important part of one's growth. You know the word for self-study, swadhyaya. 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 But in all matters, especially in the spiritual field, also in other things, temporal matters, it would be very helpful to have a teacher. Because, like for instance, your subject, you were interested so much in Sanskrit. Now, Sanskrit is not a language which is very easily studied by oneself. Unless one is so dedicated and interested, you would give up in no time because it's tough.
Yes.
In fact, I think it's the grammar, Sanskrit grammar, if you start studying it, it's Swami Vivekananda studied the Siddhanta Kaumadi for 25 years and said, I'm still studying it. You see?
Yes.
So a teacher helps. Now, I'm talking about language and other things. When it comes to spiritual things, and in India, you know how the spiritual field is so intimately connected to the language because all the Vedas were in Sanskrit, the Upanishads were in Sanskrit, even afterwards all the Agamas, everything was originally written in Sanskrit. So a teacher, I think, is very important, which does not detract from the value of self-study. Self-study, yes, but there should be some reference where if you come to a point where you can't move forward, you have somebody to ask.
Yes.
But my idea of a guru is the ancient ideal of a rishi and the students, not the newly constructed one of worshipping the guru.
Yes.
This is a detraction from the Upanishadic and Vedic understanding. A teacher should be ready to be open enough to discuss, to sort out problems. Somewhere along the line, there's a deviation out there.
Yes.
I would say, you worship the guru and everything is sorted out.
Yes.
No, this is not the teaching.
So there's much more of an interaction and a relationship, almost even a friendship.
Yeah, because you see, most of the texts, if you go back to the Vedas, have been dialogues.
Dialogue, yeah.
Dialogue is very important. So therefore, a guru, a spiritual teacher, guru in quotes, he should encourage dialogue. And not say whatever I say is right. No. This doesn't work. So I think while Swadhyaya is a very important part, in fact many people start the study of a language or even spiritual matters only through self-study. But then you come to a point where you think, maybe it's good to have a point of reference. Then you find somebody. Now if the teacher says, look, you don't do anything, you just worship me and you can't learn anything. So I think dialogue, discussion, questions, answers, very, very important. You might think this is a modern view. It's not. I'm saying that it is a traditional view.
Yeah. Yeah. Is it a good thing to encourage others? Do you think Sanskrit is natural for everyone? Or is it only like some people have affinity, some don't? Like, how I don't want to become evangelical about it, but at the same time, something within me feels it's really important that everyone hears the sounds. But how far do you go with that? How
On
far
one
is it
hand,
needed?
yeah, if you think really that people would benefit by hearing the sound of Sanskrit, even if they don't understand what is going on, I think it's a legitimate way of looking at things. At the other side, whether it's a good point to teach Sanskrit to everybody, not just listening, but studying,
actually learning.
I would say, now from the Indian point of view, yes, definitely. From other points of view, since it's an ancient language, it makes a lot of difference to know it yourself than depend on somebody else's interpretation. One of the problems is because we don't know Sanskrit, we depend on somebody's interpretation. And interpretations are always colored by the group where people come from. You see, so if you know, then you know you can sort it out yourself. That's the other side. The first thing you said, yes, I would say that no matter which nation, which group you come from, it need not be a religious interest even, but to listen to the chants, Sanskrit chants, does bring about a certain change in one's system. I fully believe in this. It calms the mind. Well, there are the tantric chants which can agitate the mind also. Not that there are vijaksharas like hum, but things which are quite strong. But the shanti mantras, the quietness of chanting, since we are on the subject, you know that the Samaveda is the root of all music that we have in India.
The Samaveda.
Samaveda. And 80 to 90% of the Samaveda is the Rigveda. Except that it's been set in music. The Samavedans are disappearing very fast. So I think somebody should take interest.
That's what I really wanted to explore, the Samaveda.
You have to, because it's so important that in the Gita, Krishna talks to Arjuna. He says, among the Vedas, Samavedosmi, I am Samaveda. He could have said Rigveda easily. So, I think I'm also trying to encourage this in some way. In Andhra Pradesh, where I live, in Madanapalli, Madanapalli is in Andhra Pradesh. That's my central place, like an ashram. In Andhra, there are a few families who are Samavedans. But they're not encouraged much because people don't know the value. So I'm trying to help them in some way. In Banaras, there is a group of Samavedans. In Kashmir, there is a group of Samavedans. My idea is maybe we should bring them all together and support each other so that this wonderful thing called a Samaveda doesn't disappear.
And it has to be learnt properly and carried on.
It has to be learned properly, step one. And if people are interested, there are people who can teach. But then other people should be informed about the usefulness of this.
And how could you explain to people the usefulness of Samaveda?
First, explain to them that the Samaveda is the root of all the musical texts that we have in India, at least in India. And the Sama, when the Sama is chanted, it is Sama Gayanti. Sama is sung. So you can demonstrate it by bringing about change in the minds of people by just chanting the Sama. People need something concrete.
They need to actually hear it.
If someone can learn some of the chants of the Samaveda and go to hospitals and other places where people are just convalescing, the chant will really help the patients to get better. And when somebody is agitated and is about to pass away and leave the body, chanting of the Samaveda would make a smooth exit. You see, these are the things which can be done.
So it can be practically helpful
Very,
in life transition.
very helpful, especially in the stage in between life and death, what the Tibetans call the bardo. This time it is most useful.
And I'm at the moment, I have one Samvada teacher who lives
You have?
in England. Yeah, I call him Ranjanji. And at the moment he's teaching me the chant that goes,
Nice.
Se tung stara, se tung stara, se tung stara, dustara. But I have to remember the hand and everything.
It takes time.
Yeah. And learn it all. But it
Nice.
feels, when first heard Samaveda, it just, something said, that's it. That's the one.
Yeah, so it has an effect on one's psyche, the one who chants. It also has an effect on those who are listening to it. This is the importance of it.
What is it about the sounds of Sanskrit that communicate with people from all the countries in the world? You know, there's people from all over, and also many people from all over the world are interested in these teachings, the Kriya Yoga, the Vedanta. What is it that seems so universal, like beyond religion, about the sounds of Sanskrit and the...
It's because in ancient times, the teachings were not meant for any particular locality. Of course, they originated in a locality. Or for a particular set of human beings. It was for mankind. Sarve bhavantu sukhinaha is sarve bhavantu sukhinaha. The entire world be happy. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu is a Sanskrit chant. That means, may the entire world be happy. So it was not meant for one particular community or a small group of people. It was meant for everybody. So therefore the appeal remains. And also, I think many of the words that we have in other languages, especially older languages, have some common words in Sanskrit. Even simple words. Door,
Yes, and Dwara.
Pitra,
And
father,
Pater.
Pater, P-A-T-E-R, Putra, then Matha.
Mater.
So the root words, if you look, I'm not saying that everything came out of Sanskrit. No. All I'm saying is that the root words of some of the old languages, for instance, there's this key word called Agni. Agni in Latin is igne. And you can't even start your car without the ignition.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's amazing that it's the first word of the Vedic hymn. Wow.
From him to Agni.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think it doesn't matter which country, which nationality, what language people speak, Sanskrit still has a certain appeal and a meaning. Because many of the root words seem to be very similar. I personally feel that there might have been an ancient language from which Sanskrit was the first that was derived.
Yeah, one before then. That maybe is lost, or do you think it's lost?
Swami Dayananda Saraswati, who founded the Arya Samaj, said that it's not entirely lost, it's there somewhere. He said, I can find it for you. He told Max Muller, if Max Muller comes with me, I can show you.
Really? So do you think how would you go about looking for that previous incarnation of the language What would be? You couldn't look for it.
I couldn't.
You'd have to just.
I tried, and my master Babaji said, "No point. You have Sanskrit. Sanskrit has all the elements of the language that was before, which many other languages don't. So this is more than enough."
For this.
So I didn't spend my time, energy looking for that what was before. You should also remember that written Sanskrit came much later. Everything was studied by rote. They heard, the Vedas themselves are called Shruti. Shruti is not that something that's written, it's what is heard, Shrotra. So Shruti, much later, it was written down. So I think in the language which was spoken, which was taught, before writing came into vogue, that's the time when it kind of departed from some ancient source.
So now it seems that so many people read many books and even might not even sound so much out loud, but do you think that actual learning of it is important, the learning by heart of the text?
Learning by heart is very important because the texts in Sanskrit are not just for the meaning of what they contain. It also has built-in sounds which create a change in your psyche, which is why it is by hearted.
Yeah.
So that you chant it is not just for the function of the meaning of the word, but the sound. This is very important.
So in that sense, because if it has the power to change the psyche, and then there's so many problems in the world, the wars, famines in places like, environmental disasters, all of this, but the part of that that's caused by
Very
humanity,
much.
if the sound of humanity changed, then surely there would be no problems.
Yeah, that's very nicely put. Yeah, that's true.
And one last question. Do you feel that it's important to have a desire to, continue work or to complete things, or do you think things will take care of themselves? What's the balance between just following where you're led and having some action?
Sankalpa, the feeling that you should do something is very important. But you should apply yourself to get it translated into action.
Yes.
The problem is when people want to take action and they have a goal, if it doesn't happen, or if it misses the point, they go into a low. The whole teaching of the Gita is to do your work and not get too worried about what's happening afterwards. If this attitude is kept in mind, I think not only is the sankalpa essential, but the karma required to put it into practice. Action, the kriya required to put. Kriya simply means a practice.
Yeah.
To put it into practice. Both are important. You can't say, okay, it'll be taken care of. No, we have to apply ourselves to that. But the root is the sankalpa. The sankalpa is good, partly, even somehow it will be taken care of. But you have to put in the effort.
And to make that good sankalpa, does that require a discipline? Like here on this course, that the students are initiated into the Kriya, something like that is required.
A certain amount of discipline is required for anything. So Kriya is a technique by which you harness the energies which are in you, which are potential but not yet activated, and how to get them activated. I mean, this is all Kriya is all about. So But Kriya is for a specific purpose, but there are other practices which can keep you going on your path.
Thank you, Sri M.
Thank you so much. Nice meeting you.
Nice
It's
meeting
a pleasure.
you too. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.